everyone, hi. Just wanted to go ahead and check in really fast. We're getting into some things where I thought maybe it might be specifically necessary for me to go ahead and address a few issues. So here I am, trying to go ahead and look into the camera and read also. Anyhow, just wanted to go ahead and direct you to the fact that on page 8 I'm going to go ahead and talk about the case analysis, since those are coming up soon. The case analysis is about getting from readings things that actually analyze the world and the situations. It's basically getting into critical thinking, and I think I might have a typo in this first paragraph, so I'll go ahead and move on. Anyhow, so the thing is I've broken it down into 5 parts. And I've posted a couple sample case studies analysis that I've done in class where we've done a collaborative effort. One is a little bit more complete than the other, and that was just about the interaction that I had in the classroom at the time. So there's 5 areas that are critical to this. So you read through the case first, and you look at the questions at the end of the case and say, okay, what am I supposed to do? So what is the goal of the analysis, right? That's the first part that you have to think about. And usually the questions at the end of the case will go ahead and tell you that. So the goal of the analysis, if you look down at the explanation below, is the goal to make a decision, to find a problem, or to evaluate what happened or what may happen. Okay, a decision is readily identifiable because the author will make that very clear with the questions at the end of the case. An evaluation then is whether you agree or disagree with the case information and really why. And then a problem generally concerns outcomes or performance that is not explained in the case. For instance, a company fails to meet its sales goals, and I'll let you read that. And I think, yeah, okay, so, and then I've done the setting criteria on the next page. So what is the situation? So this really is the easiest part of the whole thing, is what's really going on here. Just go ahead and go through and summarize in a PowerPoint presentation what is going on in the case. You can go ahead and supply the actors. Who are the main actors? Are they principals or are they supporting actors? And what about the actors that aren't necessarily obvious? So for instance, in some of the cases, they will go ahead and have customers or other people involved that are not actually mentioned in the case. Then on page 9 of the syllabus, I've talked about setting criteria. This is all about asking questions. So you should be familiar with decision criteria from other courses, but here is the example. So decision criteria is basically what you're trying to do with the decision criteria is you're trying to say, what is it that I'm going for here? I have to make a decision about what I would do if I was involved in this case in reality. So for the case of the complaining customer, the decision you're going to have a couple things. I think that was, if I recall correctly, we'd said it was a decision as well as an evaluation and possibly even defining a problem. What's really going on? What is the real problem? Where does it emanate from? And what do we do about it? That's the decision part. And also in the case of the complaining customer, we had to sort of take a look at whether or not the customer service guy was actually going to be a good source of continuing employment. So we kind of had to think about whether or not it was an evaluation about him also. So you can get into these hybrids. So it's not necessarily a problem definition or an evaluation. It can be 2, it can be 1, it can be all 3. Okay? Setting the criteria then. This is all about asking questions. So, for instance, it's just that foray out into the case analysis to say, what is it that I have, what more information am I looking for? What are the criteria that I need to go ahead and make this decision or make this evaluation or define this problem? And I've put some examples out here. So what criteria do you use to evaluate your needs for the kind of car that you want? So this is your evaluation criteria. So you think, well, okay, so I want a car with leather seats, a good, a stomping good stereo system, automatic, not manual, sunroof, and those kinds of things. And then so you go out and you've decided that what you want is the Jaguar, and you can afford a Scion, is that right? Yeah, that's the one where I use this as an example because I like the commercial where they offer the toaster as the other option. And you might only be able to afford the toaster option, who knows? So you've decided that you want to have the Jaguar, but probably the only thing that you can afford is the Honda. I think that's a Honda, right? Anyhow, so you've evaluated your wants and needs and decided you have to have the Jaguar. So you've made a decision based on the criteria that you have in front of you. So you've gone ahead and evaluated what you want, which is the leather seats and the sunroof. You've come up with some decision criteria. Well, you know, it's got to be like affordable, right? And it's got to be economic. Well, and I really want that Jaguar, but we're not going to get that. So I've made my decision that I'm going to get the smaller car that's more economical. Okay, so then you take it home, and your spouse takes one look at it and says, "Hey, nice car." No excitement. They seem angry, and you think to yourself, so what's really going on here? What's the problem? And we've all been through this with our spouses, which is why I use this example. So you go and you say, "Well, honey, I don't understand. I brought you a brand new car. What's wrong? Why do you seem upset? Why are you angry?" And they turn around and they say, "Well, nothing's wrong." And you think to yourself, what's the problem? What's really going on? And so you start to go ahead and quiz your spouse or significant other, depending on how things are for you. And you say, "Well, you know, I got this blue car. It's a Scion. Is that not what you wanted?" It doesn't matter. Well, maybe at that point you know it does matter, right? And so you probe a little bit further and you find out your spouse was really looking for a little black Honda Accord instead of the little blue toaster option. And so so that's part of what you're doing in the case analysis is you're just pulling out these criteria so that you can go ahead and make your evaluation, so that you can go ahead and make a decision, and so that you can go ahead and evaluate and define a problem. Okay, so these questions or criteria will lead you to the next step. So if you've done the first 3 steps fairly well, the next step is just going to fall right out. Because then the hypothesis is nothing more than what is it that we propose that we can do. Hypothetically speaking, to solve this situation, this is what we're going to do. So, and you can say, in the case of the complaining customer, I'm going to fire, the best thing for us to do in this situation is fire the customer service manager. No, wait, we'll go ahead and send him back for retraining. We think that... no, we'll back up. Let's go ahead and fire this customer service manager in chapter 2, in the case of the complaining customer. Because then as you go back into the case, you'll read back through and you'll see that maybe you don't need to fire him. Maybe you can reject that hypothesis of firing him because you see where possibly he may need more training, and he's very knowledgeable about the system, but his customer service skills are, need some high improvement. So think about that. Or in the case of the counter, the service at the counter, you say, well, let's just chuck this system and go get another system. And you say, well, okay, can I accept or reject that? And here's why. So would you necessarily want to check the entire system? Probably not, because you've gone ahead and invested so much effort into it already. But the case talks about how the employees need got the nominal amount of training, so you might want to go ahead and improve your customer service training, get them more familiar with how to use a system, and in that case you would reject that hypothesis that you should go ahead and chuck the whole system at the counter. Okay. The opposite, of course, is restating your hypothesis to say, well, we'll just retrain everybody. Okay. And so basically what I've done is I have just stated my hypothesis and supported it with evidence. How simple is that? It's very simple. Doing it in a group, doing it with a PowerPoint going around is probably not all that easy, and I get that because it's not easy in class. I will state that everybody is doing the same thing outside in this class that goes on in the classroom. It's just the timings are different, so that because one class I have a little bit more control over, and I have to make sure that you guys have some leeway in some areas. Okay, so the overall goal is to provide support for your view. Now, I will tell you this, as we move into some of the cases, they are going to require graphs and this and that and all kinds of things. And you're going to want to go ahead and have the answers in front of you to confirm that you're actually putting up the correct information. You're going to say, well, Dr. Rod, when I get up to chapter 10, then do I need to put all these graphs out there because they're huge and they're in whatever format? And I will tell you that as I do every other group, use your best judgment. Keep it narrowed down. Also, I recall that there's one case where, and I can't remember which one it is at this point, but you'll know it when you get to it if you're the group that has it. You'll say, well, Dr. Rod, do we have to do all these questions on this one? And so if you send that email to me, I will tell you yes or no. So if you have any questions about which questions that you're answering, how much work to put into it, there was a couple cases last semester where I decided that I would go ahead and say, okay, you work the table, you get into the slide, but you know, let's not go into killing ourselves with the tables either. Okay, so I don't want this to be ugly, but I do want it to be a learning experience. So wherever you need tweaking, let me know. I will help you. Not a problem. Okay, just real fast then. So current events are also starting up with the case studies. So if you look out on page 4, you'll see where group 1 has the case study for chapter 3, and in group 5 we'll go ahead and post one current event per person. Obviously, we may possibly run out of current events that relate to production operations. We'll cover that when we get to that. But for now, every member of the group should post one current event, and it shouldn't be the same as somebody else's in the group. So be monitoring those. You'll have to respond to those. And you'll need to either respond to the case study or you need to respond to the current event. Okay, so I'm not making this terribly ugly as far as the discussion board responses. I just need you to go ahead and post out a response so that I know that you're keeping an eye on things. And just one other thing, the video that I did last week was really ugly. On page 5, I copy pasted from the other syllabus in my other course. Make sure that on 15, 17, 22, and 24 March that you're doing the same things that you've been doing all along, is just reading the assigned chapter, taking a quiz, and posting your insights. The other thing that I need to do some updating for you and get some grading rubrics out on the PowerPoint so that you know what the expectations are. I'm not going to get all crazy about that. And I have a long list of other things that I need to do for you to go ahead and finish up the course and get it completely done for you. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, I think that's it in a nutshell. So we have about 30 days before we get to spring break, and you have alternate activities on the 3rd of March. There's no work due, nothing, no expectations, and so that's it. We'll wrap that up. And so keep on doing what you're doing, and I hope the course is going well for everybody for the most part. I wish I could get a little bit more online time with all of you, but that just doesn't seem to be working out real well right now. So I'll go ahead and see what I can do in the future to have a little bit more interaction. Otherwise, you're all in Aiken. You come by my office. There's only one person I know who can't come to my office. Everybody else, you know where to find me because you found me and or you're sitting in one of my other classes. So anyhow, all right, that's it. Take care, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.